Welcome to Friday with Friends. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, answer any questions you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we'd love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Awesome. So we have a really great topic today, a question that we get pretty much all the time when chatting with our buyers and sellers when they've been on Zillow and they see the term delayed negotiations and they're like, what is that? So we are here to give you guys all the info that you need.
Yes, because whenever there's a lot of questions that come to us, we realize there's probably more people asking them.
For sure.
So what does a standard negotiation look like, Abby? So not delayed, just standard, what you've probably seen if you've ever bought or sold a house before.
Yep. So a standard negotiation is I go in, look at 123 Main Street. I love it. I talk to my realtor. We write an offer. We submit it. The seller typically needs to get back to us with whatever our contract says, but most of the time somewhere between maybe 12 to 24 hours.
Yes. So that's normal, right? Then this crazy market has happened. Buyer demand is so high, and we started to transition into delayed negotiations. So
Perfect.
Do you want to explain?
Yeah,
okay,
let's do it.
So what are delayed negotiations?
So delayed negotiations is a tactic that's come up in this market where listing agents and sellers are setting a specific deadline for offers. A lot of times we see it's maybe 3, 4, 5 days. Depending on the situation, it might be longer, it might be shorter, but they're setting a deadline to say, let's say we put the house on the market on Wednesday, on Sunday night, we are reviewing all offers. So that's what delayed is you're not taking the offers as they come in. There's a specific deadline that they need all the offers to be in.
Yes, and so this means different things for buyers and means different things for sellers. So what we want to do is we want to break down, starting as if you're a seller, to be able to say, here's the pros, here's the cons, and then if you're a buyer, here's the pros and the cons. And listen, if you're like, I'm only a buyer, you still need to listen to the sellers because you want to understand what they are going through, because the better you understand the sellers, the better you can present your offer and create the best offer that they're going to accept, and that's how you win. So let's dig into it. So we'll start with sellers.
Yeah, let's talk pros and cons for both. So sellers pro, there's a few different reasons why a lot of people would prefer to do delayed negotiations if they're a seller in this market. They understand that on Sunday at 5 p.m., they're going to have their best and final offers from the buyers right then and there. They don't need to worry, well, did we keep it on the market long enough? Did we do this? Did we do that? Are we accepting an offer too quickly? They know right then and there they're having the best and final offers from the buyers.
And so you have to think about it. In a typical market, it might just be Johnny who doesn't work. So let's say we list the house on Thursday. Johnny doesn't work on Thursday, so Johnny was able to be the first buyer in, was able to write the offer the quickest, and brings an offer, but maybe it's not the best offer, but it's just that he's like, well, you need to respond to me by 9 o'clock tonight. And then the seller's put in this situation, well, how do I know? So the pro is that you are giving the buyers, you are having the time where you're saying, listen, during this amount of time, I feel that I am getting any buyer that is going to be coming in. And that's a huge huge relief when you're a seller and you don't have to make those like just complete guess decisions. And essentially you are not allowed to get your back up against the wall. If you have put in their terms that you are not reviewing offers until a certain period of time, you're not put in that situation where it's like, well, accept this or my offer is coming off the table from a buyer, which is a negotiation tactic from a buyer.
It is. And so it also gives the seller the confidence to know, like Mandy was saying, that they have given it enough time to mature on the market. You let it go to Zillow, you went to all the third-party sites, we let all of our social media marketing have enough time to mature on the market. And so that's a really great, it's great for the sellers to know we've given it enough time to mature on the market, and we've given buyers the adequate amount of time to come and look at the house.
Yes. And also given the buyers the adequate amount of time to think about their offer. So here's what happens is a buyer will see a house and they're like, well, we have to move really, really fast. So they put in an offer that maybe they haven't had their time to think about it and discuss it with their important people in their family. So they write an offer, and then 2 days later, they're like, it was too emotional. I felt rushed. I don't like that offer. Well, that's really not what you want as a seller. So the pro of this delayed negotiations is the offers that you are getting are from buyers that have truly thought about it and that have explored options, which we'll get into more too later. But think about that from a seller's perspective, the pro of the delayed negotiation in that way.
For sure. And I would say, in there's going to be opinions one way or the other. We do see for most of our clients the delayed negotiations route is the way to go in this market, because we don't want them to be, again, get an offer on day one, let's say Wednesday night, Thursday night, when you put the house on the market and it's list price. But could you never know. I never want my client to be like, but could we have? That's what we really want to eliminate. But let's talk about some cons for delayed negotiations.
Yes.
So let's say, again, we put the house on the market Thursday, we review all offers Sunday. We'll keep that as kind of the trend moving forward here. And on Wednesday, they come and see your house, they love it. And then on Friday, another house pops up that they like better. That is the risk of delayed negotiation. Since we're not reviewing till Sunday, they might find another house in the meantime that they like better.
Yes. Now, if you listen to our previous Fridays with Friends episode where we talk about how inventory is very low, you balance that risk and you see, but it's a possibility.
Definitely.
Another con when it comes to that is that it might not necessarily work for your timeline. And here's what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's say that I'm a seller, but I have a house that I want to make an offer on, and I'm going contingent. So I put an offer in on that house subject to me selling my house. Yeah. I might not want to wait another 3 days to get an offer. So there's some agents that might get a little critical to say, well, why didn't you do delayed negotiations on this house? Well, the reason we didn't do delayed negotiations is because we don't have 3 days. Yeah. We need to sell it immediately, like every hour counts. So this isn't necessarily a con of delayed negotiations, but it's a reason that you might not want to use delayed negotiations if there's some reason that every single minute counts and you're saying, listen, I don't need to get the highest and best offer with all the terms that I want. I need to get an offer in my hand, signed with a contract. So that's a con, is yes, it takes a little bit longer, but it might be to your advantage to not use it.
Great point. And then the only other thing just that we want to mention on a potential con for a seller is, again, just the reality that let's say a buyer comes in and looks at the house day one. We're calling that Wednesday, right?
Sure.
Wednesday, day one. They might get cold feet between now and Sunday. Now, again, as we were talking about kind of as a pro to delayed negotiations, though, is then they've waited a few days, they are serious and ready to go. They didn't get cold feet throughout the process. But that might be a reality of some buyer, but at the same time, making it a con or making it a pro, that they're not the buyer for your house.
Yes, exactly. Is you determine it early on instead of later on.
For sure.
Another pro that, Abby, you and I didn't even talk about is that you can also then control your timeline. So we're making up these times saying, hey, we list on a Wednesday or a Thursday and we do delayed negotiations until Sunday. Let's say you are like, hey, listen, I've got Sunday dinner. I need to...
Are you talking about me? Because we're at our Sunday dinner and I'm like, sorry, just negotiating offers.
But you could say, I want delayed negotiations to be until Tuesday at 5 o'clock because that's the day that we are home and I know that my husband and my wife or whoever, my partner, is able to be with me to review these offers. So the pro is that you're not going to Johnny's soccer game or you're not going to, take care of this person or whatever volunteering thing you're doing. Yeah. You are in control of your timeline and you can do it on a time that works best for you. And that's where we as the agent are talking with you about that to say, when would you like it? Here's our advice, but we can go, 24 hours either way to make it so that we are reviewing offers at a time that's convenient for your family.
Exactly. I'm not calling you in the middle of a dinner or something like that, say, hey, we got an offer.
Which if you don't do delayed negotiations, an offer could come in at any point and then the buyer determines when we need to respond by and how much time we have. And that can be stressful.
That's a really good point.
I know, I just thought of it.
It's really great. It's really great. Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So let's get to the buyer side.
Yeah, so if you are a buyer, how do delayed negotiations benefit you? Let's do some pros.
Perfect. So number one, kind of what we had talked about is that you don't have to rush to make a showing. Let's say we go live on Wednesday and we've got Tommy's baseball game Wednesday night. You can go Thursday night. There's no pressure that you need to drop everything to get into the house right away. So it does have less anxiety for buyers in the market.
And that's a simple sentence, but if you are a buyer in the market right now, you understand that is a life-changing like when you can delay negotiations, it gives you that time. Because if you were if you were looking for a house prior to delayed negotiations, you had to be checking your phone 24/7. And hey, you still kind of do, because some houses don't have delayed negotiations. It's not all the time. But you had to be on your toes, and you had to be ready to leave anything at any time to go see a house. Or we had clients that were nervous to go out of town because they thought they might miss a really great listing. So delayed negotiations for a buyer, the pro is that, hey, if we list it in delayed negotiations till Monday, you can get in any time before Monday, and it makes the entire home buying process so much less stressful.
Yep, definitely. Same pro as a pro to the seller's side here. As a buyer, you don't need to rush into making an offer. You can take time to review the comps, the neighborhood. Are you familiar with the town? What's the proximity to schools and towns and restaurants and things like that? You can really take the time to make sure that this house is perfect for you. You do not need to rush into making an offer.
Yes, and I think that that is better for you, because you are more confident in what your max offer might be. So yes, if it's delayed negotiations, you're probably putting your best foot forward, but you're able to see, okay, this specific house with this amount of taxes, what do those numbers look like? And you can go back and forth with your loan officer, and you can start to say, hey, listen, we're comfortable at this point, but I'm really not comfortable at this point. What's the most I'd be able to go on? And you literally can sleep on it. So we used to say, like, if you sleep on it, you might not sleep in it, because you can't take a lot of extra time in a normal market, but with this you can, and that is such a pro. And yes, it means you're in a multiple offer situation probably, and yes, it's hard, but there's a lot of benefit for you as a buyer if you are in this, being able to just really feel more confident in your offer and if you like the house or not.
And also it gives you the opportunity to maybe go back a second time. Too. We didn't write this one down either. Look at us. We're just on the fly here. You might not have the opportunity if we want to go look at the house on Wednesday and they're not doing delayed negotiations. You most likely have to write an offer the first time you see it, unless it's a special situation or a unique house or something like that. But in this world, you could go Wednesday night and then again Saturday morning and then submit your offer Sunday.
Yeah, in COVID style showings right now, you're not like, oh, let me just look around. Like you miss sometimes your first time you're going through, because you're trying to just like be smart and you don't want to touch things, all of that you really, that second showing could be something where you're actually like, okay, what does that look like? Or I missed that point too.
For sure. Perfect. Okay, awesome. And then let's get into buyer's con. So this would be why potentially delayed negotiations might not be great as a buyer. And again, there's pros and cons with everything. So a few cons on the buyer side, if the house that you're looking to write an offer on has delayed negotiations. If you wanted to move quickly, if you wanted to write an offer right away as maybe a negotiating tactic to say, we want a response in 5 hours or something like that, you're not going to be able to do that. Per Greater Rochester Association of Realtors law, a seller cannot, let's say we have delayed negotiations until Sunday night. You come in and offer me
$1 million,
the moon and the stars and everything. I legally, as a seller, cannot accept that offer if we have the delayed negotiations listed and noted in the listing. So it's just it's not legal. We can't do that. So even if the offer is terrific, even if you're going to put your best foot forward times 100, the seller can still not respond to your offer.
Yes. And the other part that's a challenge when it comes to cons, when you're a buyer, is that this means that you're putting your best and final forward. Now, as a buyer's agent, what you definitely should be doing is with the buyer's agent is they should be telling you how many other offers are on the table. Because we've had delayed negotiations where there weren't multiple offers. And so that could change it. But typically, if there is delayed negotiations and you are learning that there is multiple offers, you can't go in at a low price and have the opportunity to negotiate. It truly is put your best foot forward. And we did a Fridays with Friends on escalation clauses where we've talked about ways that you really try to make your offer stand out. But you can't say, well, I want to go in and lowball this and kind of see where this goes. You don't have the time for that. You will be rejected, another offer will be accepted, and they move on. So you lose that opportunity to really negotiate. And that's what you get in a seller's market.
Yep, definitely. And so that's why, just to reiterate, you really want to make sure as a buyer in the market, you're working with the seller to identify what is going to put my best foot forward and understand that on Sunday night, if they say no to your offer and they go with another, assuming there is multiple offers, you can sleep at night saying we put our best foot forward. And that's really what you want to ask yourself when submitting offers in this situation is, if I don't receive it and if I don't get that accepted offer, do I know I put my best foot forward and I can feel comfortable and confident with that?
Yeah, and we have another Fridays with Friends episode where we talk about how to win in multiple offer situations, and we talk all about that. So if you are in that situation, be sure to check out our Facebook videos or a YouTube video channel, wherever we are. We have them a lot of places to be able to learn more about how to win in multiple offer situations. But from the standpoint of talking about today, delayed negotiations, it is it was needed in this market. We weren't doing it early on, and we started to get into it this past, did we start in 2019?
2 years, probably.
It's definitely more prevalent now than it ever has been, and it is so important to understand it. And sometimes you'll be like, I don't know what delayed negotiations mean. That's why we wanted to make the video today, so that you can see from a seller's perspective what it means, the pros and cons, and from a buyer's perspective what it means, the pros and cons, so that you can decide and you can make sure that you aren't feeling completely unprepared going into it.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, I think that's everything.
Thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends. Again, Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's happening in the market, answer any questions you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.